So today, we're going to do a really deep forensic analysis of a specific Quranic passage, Al-Qasas, verse 32. And we're going to do it through the lens of a commentary by Ayatollah Javadi Amoli. The goal here is to unpack the story of Moses and Pharaoh, not just as a story, but as the source presents it, as a really tightly constructed philosophical argument about what proof actually is, the psychology of power, and what the very foundations of belief are built on.
Okay, let's dive right in. Right off the bat, the commentary hits us with this central question. Is faith something that's built on tradition and stories, on what we've always been told? Or does it actually demand a foundation of rational, intellectual proof? This question is the core tension that this entire analysis is built around. So, to get started, we really need to grasp the source's foundational argument. It basically says that true, resilient faith can't just be something you inherit. It has to have an intellectual basis, something that can actually withstand scrutiny. And this brings us to a really key term from the source, tis'is aqlani, which means rational establishment. The argument here is that the pillars of religion, the absolute core tenets of your faith, can't just be handed down. They must be built on a logical framework that your intellect can verify, a clear demonstration of truth, not just a story passed down from your grandparents.
And this comparison just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have a foundation of proof, logic, and intellectual acceptance. On the other side, a foundation of pure tradition, literally what our ancestors did. According to this source, a belief system that's only grounded in tradition is, well, fragile. True, lasting faith absolutely demands reason.
But this brings up a crucial question, though. If faith needs a rational foundation, why do you even need a prophet in the first place? Why can't humanity just reason its way to the truth all on its own? Well, the commentary tackles this head-on. You see, the mission is sent to Pharaoh and his court precisely because they are a transgressing people. The commentary really zeroes in on this to make a critical point. Humanity has this tendency to get corrupted, to go off course, and to build these huge power structures based on injustice. This built-in fallibility is exactly why an external divine message delivered by a prophet is needed to get society's moral and intellectual compass pointing true again. Okay, so now let's zoom in on the case study itself, Moses. The source doesn't just tell his story, it really deconstructs his divine mission and his very human anxieties to show us the deeper strategy that's at play.
And here, you can actually see a piece of the commentary we're analyzing. Just look at the detailed, line-by-line breakdown. This is not a casual read-through. This is a forensic analysis of Moses' prayer to God, as he's getting ready for this absolutely monumental task.
This verse right here is absolutely central to the commentary's analysis. See, Moses isn't just making a general plea for help. The source reads this as a series of calculated, strategic requests. He's making them based on a very clear-eyed assessment of the challenges ahead. He knows they're going to deny him, and he understands that he needs eloquent communication and real support to have any chance of success.
So the source breaks this down not as a simple prayer, but as a strategic plan. He asks for a Ridan, which is a support or a minister. He's specific, his brother Aaron, because that ensures trust. He asks that Aaron strengthen his arm, to give him fortitude, and share in the task, to create a unified front. He's anticipating the immense psychological and logistical pressure of confronting the most powerful man on earth. And God's response, as the source details it, is incredibly precise. He grants the requests, but then he adds a crucial element, authority, or sultan. The commentary emphasizes that this word sultan here means more than just raw power. It signifies a decisive, compelling proof, the kind of authority that comes from holding an unassailable, intellectually overpowering argument.
So now the stage is set. We have Moses, armed not just with miracles, but with this divine authority, this sultan, going to confront the ultimate worldly power, Pharaoh.
So how does Pharaoh respond to this divine proof? Does he engage with the logic? Nope. The source points out that his entire defense is a logical fallacy, the appeal to tradition. This isn't what our forefathers believed. He totally rejects the rational argument and falls back on that narrative establishment we talked about at the very beginning.
And this right here, this brings us to the intellectual climax of the whole commentary. The source makes a critical distinction between two different kinds of divine evidence that Moses brought. And understanding this difference is the key to the entire argument.
First, you have ayat. We often translate this as signs or miracles. Think of the staff turning into a serpent. These are powerful, amazing wonders that point toward a divine truth. But, and this is a big but, As we see with Pharaoh's magicians, they can be dismissed or misinterpreted, in this case as just magic.
But then there's a second, even more powerful category, bayinat. This means clear proofs. These are not just wonders to be marveled at. They are self-evident, intellectually lucid demonstrations of truth. They are arguments and evidence so clear that they leave absolutely no room for any rational doubt.
So here it is, the crucial point of the commentary. Moses was armed with both. He had the ayat, the signs to get their attention, but his ultimate authority, his sultan, was rooted in the bayinat, the irrefutable logical case for his message. A sign can be dismissed as magic, but a clear proof, the source argues, can only be willfully ignored.
And this is the final takeaway from this whole deep analysis. Pharaoh's rejection of Moses was not an intellectual failure. It's not that he wasn't convinced. It was a political and moral choice. He was presented with bayinat, with clear, undeniable proof, but accepting that proof would have meant tearing down the entire system of power that his throne was built on.
Which leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. This entire analysis shows that a case can be rationally undeniable. A proof can be totally self-evident. But if the human will, driven by power or ego or just tradition, can still choose to reject it, what then is the ultimate key that actually unlocks belief? That's something to think about.